Nazanin, I know that you have got friends and family in Iran. What are you hearing from them?
Unfortunately, nothing. We're now 3 days into an internet blackout. The very limited information that I have received has been because of the existence of Starlink terminals and the activation of Starlink recently. And it's not good news. It's unfortunately, we're hearing that thousands of Iranians have now been killed by the regime, thousands of protesters. There's one particular message that has actually been made public of a man recounting his experiences as he witnessed 450 people in a morgue. The morgue was so full that people were then dead bodies were being stored in a warehouse. And this is the state of Iran and events in Iran right now under the veil, the dark veil of internet shutdown.
You, of course, have been campaigning for some years on human rights in Iran, particularly latterly in the Woman Life Freedom campaign. Do you think what is happening now is very different to what has been taking place in the past? Essentially, could the regime fall?
I mean, the short answer to that is hopefully. I think we're very hopeful. This, of course, you know that Iranians are no strangers to protests and uprisings, and there's been one every decade and more frequently since 2017. Of course, we had 2017 and then 2019, the Bloody November protests of 2019, and then the 2022 uprising, or the Woman Life Freedom uprising. In each and every one of those, you had Iranians who stood up and they had some kind of a demand for this regime. This time, there is no demand other than we want you gone. This time, it's unequivocal that there is no call for action, no pleading with the regime to give them something that they don't have. Yes, the spark of these protests was because of an economic crisis. Inflation is soaring. The currency is the worth of the currency is plummeting. There is food shortage, water scarcity. I mean, the Iranians have nothing to lose. What they want is their dignity. And so that's what this is about. It's about finally achieving the freedom. Even as the economy is crumbling, what they're saying is, we want this regime gone.
As you said, it's very hard to get any information out of Iran. But given the conversations that you've had in recent times, and though perhaps not in the last few days, do you think that the impetus behind this, these actions in the streets is strong enough, if you like, to deal with or to combat what I suppose you might call the cultural conservatism? Because no doubt in mosques and so on, the message conveyed from the Supreme Leader, from Ayatollah Khamenei, has been that they will not change.
Yes, and so what's evident right now, and I think is what has become clearer to the Iranian people, is that this movement needs to be a nationwide. More people need to join the protests. Of course, they're risking their lives, and as we're seeing, people are being slaughtered, and it's what's surprising and devastating is that this is a risk that they're willing to take. And it's very much youth-driven. And these are people who have only ever known this regime. They've not known life before this regime. They've only been raised under theocracy and clerical rule. And yet this indoctrination by the regime just hasn't planted any seeds within them. They very much want to be connected to the world. They enjoy all the same things as anybody else does in the world. And they've just had enough, and they want this regime gone. I think with that level of courage, there can only ever be hope. Now, we need international support. And, you know, the last thing we need is for people to be emboldened to go into the streets because they think they're going to get that support, and then that support doesn't come.
I don't want to ask you to say anything that would identify anybody who is known to you or related to you, but what are your fears for those people in Iran that you do know or who are close to you?
I'm very, very scared. But if I'm being honest, we have lived for 47 years being scared. We just never know what's going to happen. You know, this regime has been at war with the Iranian people for almost half a century. And so they don't have all the freedoms that they deserve, and they don't live in peace and prosperity. It's an ongoing concern that I have, but particularly in this moment where we can't connect, I can't talk to them. I don't know exactly what's going on with people I care deeply about, but there are 92 million Iranians that I care deeply about. And so there's this real dilemma for most of us activists in Iran is what needs to happen for this regime to go, for it to be an end to theocracy and the start of hopefully a liberal secular democracy.
May I ask just very briefly, of course, one condition for change is there should be something to change too. Do you think the Iranian people will believe or feel that there's a role for the son of the Shah, Reza Pahlavi, in the future?
I think he's made it clear that he wants to lead a transition of some kind to free and fair election, so that the people of Iran make that choice for themselves, what kind of future they want. I am a democracy activist, a human rights activist. I hope that we get to the point where we can have a free and fair election, and that future is determined by the Iranian people. Now, whether that's a constitutional monarchy or a republic, that's in the hands of the Iranian people. My hope is that if there is a role for him to play, and the people seem to be calling his name on the streets, that's really the only name that I've heard in the protests, in the videos that I've received and I've seen, and there has been sort of a groundswell of support for him. I just hope that, you know, Iran is a very diverse country, and we all need to come together. There has to be a unity, and I think we're seeing that unity with the minorities and other groups really heeding the call of this moment and uniting for a free Iran.